Welcome to A Senior Moment. Quick info on the issues facing older adults today. On this episode, we'll be covering problem gambling in older adults with our guest speaker, who is a certified drug and alcohol counselor and also trainer on addiction issues.
All right, and so today we're going to be talking about older adults and problem gambling. Right, and so we know that gambling is a very, very popular activity among older folks, and this is cross-cultural, right? And so there's just a huge swath of the population that just enjoys gambling. Gambling participation is increasing significantly among the older adult population, and it's becoming particularly widespread and a regular recreational behavior among this population. Right. And so, through all sorts of different surveys of social activities of older adults, gambling is the most frequented activity, passing lots of other activities such as going to the movies, going to lunch, um, uh, spending time with friends, shopping, golfing, all sorts of things. And so older adults are actually the fastest growing group of gamblers. And, well, casinos know this and, well, they act on that. Many individuals themselves, they consider gambling as a harmless form of entertainment. And there are definitely risks associated with gambling. There's some very important factors impacting older adults in gambling, right? Older adults often have more time, more money to spend on leisure activities, such as gambling. But older adults may also have limited financial resources, right? The folks might be living on a fixed income or uh, with less ability to replenish savings or retirement funds through work, right? And so maybe folks are looking to win big to compensate. Older adults, especially those in retirement, could be especially vulnerable to gambling problems because of issues around loneliness, issues around boredom, right? Retirement may result in a loss of social networks, contributing to loneliness and social isolation. Older adults, they're more likely to experience the death of a spouse, family member, friends, loved ones, right? And so folks may turn to gambling to help cope with such losses, right, as a form of emotional escape. Older adults may have physical limitations or mobility issues, and that may prevent them from engaging in other activities that they once enjoyed. Senior centers, churches, retirement communities, assisted livings, they regularly sponsor trips to casinos. Bingo nights, 50-50 raffles, they're all very, very, very common. And casinos know this, right? They all, usually offer very big incentives for folks to come and spend money there, right? So they offer things like, the bus will come pick everybody up, free senior day, free passes, free meals. I've even seen so far as some casinos offer, we'll refill your oxygen tanks if you come to the casino, right? And so really it's about anything to pull folks in and entice them, right? It's a business after all. We know that easy access and lower barriers to gambling increases the probability that, well, folks are going to gamble. And it can also be a form of social pressure, right? And so if my friends, the folks that I spend my time with, are going to the casino, going to bingo night, right, I might feel pressured to kind of join in on the fun. And so that being said, it is a little bit of a double-edged sword, right? There are some social benefits, and there certainly can be some social benefits with gambling and older adults, right? If it's getting folks out of the house, if it's getting them to engage in with their friends, their relatives, their loved ones, the people that they care about, then that can be a good thing. But we have to take into consideration the negatives, right? Older adults are at a higher risk of developing a gambling problem, and and it's much more difficult for them to recoup financial losses if they're retired or on a fixed income. Just some other things to consider about problem gambling in older adults, right? We know that older adults are much less likely to seek help or seek treatment. And this is across the board for all behavioral health issues and concerns, right? They're much less likely to seek help or treatment for depression, anxiety, substance use disorders, and problem gambling. Health professionals rarely assess for problem gambling, right? I think this is something that we just don't often talk about. It usually flies under the radar. Most of the research in the field of problem gambling is targeted at the youth population, right? And so we see a lot of kind of PSA ads, the risks, the dangers of problem gambling, really targeted at the youth population. We also know if there's cognitive or physical impairment issues, right? That can certainly cloud somebody's judgment, and it can certainly, in fact, impact the amount of money that they're gambling and being able to stop. So, when does gambling become problem gambling or even a gambling disorder? And so, there are some certain things to kind of be on the lookout for here, right? And so, the need to gamble with increasing amount of money to achieve the desired excitement, restlessness or irritability when trying to cut down or stop gambling, repeated unsuccessful efforts to control, cut back, or to stop gambling, frequent thoughts about gambling, right? And so kind of reliving those big wins, whatever that may be. Often gambling when feeling distress, uh, after losing money, gambling, often returning to get more, right? Chasing one's losses, uh, lying to conceal gambling activity, jeopardizing or losing a significant relationship, job, education, career opportunity because of gambling. And then last but not least, relying on others to help with money problems caused by gambling. Okay. And so one of the main takeaways here, if you or those you work with gamble, it's very important to gamble responsibly, right? And so I have very quick 10 responsible gambling guidelines. And so if you choose to gamble, do so for entertainment purposes. Treat the money you lose as the cost of your entertainment. Set a dollar limit and stick to it. Set a time limit and stick to it, right? Expect to lose, right? There's a reason the saying, the house always wins. Don't use your credit card to gamble. Create balance in your life. Don't increase your betting to make up for the money you lost. Don't gamble as a way to cope with stress, loneliness, or depression. And then last but not least, educate yourself about problem gambling, right? A lot of the casinos, the video lottery, video poker machines, they are very strategically designed to be very stimulating, to kind of really, really hook you. And so the more information you have, the more knowledgeable you are about problem gambling, um, the better off you are going to be. So last but not least, are you feeling lucky? Well, you'd better be if you're planning on playing the lottery, right? So depending on which one you play, some of them have pretty long odds. And so just one example here, the odds of winning a recent Powerball drawing was 1 in a 292.2 million, right? And so I know that's just a ginormous number. I don't think our brains can fully comprehend that. But to give us some perspective, right, you have a 1 in a 2.3 million chance of being killed by lightning. You have a 1 in 3.4 million chance of dying after coming in contact with a venomous animal or plant. And then you have a 1 in 10 million chance of being struck by falling airplane parts, right? And so just to kind of put things into perspective. Uh, Treatment, at least in the state of Oregon, is 100% free for problem gamblers and for the loved ones of problem gamblers. Right? It's a little bittersweet, but every dollar that goes into the video lottery machine, there's a percentage that then goes on to pay for treatment. Right? And so it's completely free. It can't be completely confidential, and there is proven evidence-based practices for gambling treatment. Right? We know that it works. Um, and so some great resources, the 1-877 My Limit, opgr.org, and then the GAM Talk, right? That's the online support for gambling issues. It's gamtalk.org.
This has been a senior moment. Thanks for watching. For more episodes, please consider liking and subscribing.